What's up, guys? You are watching Fight Feed, and today we are going to be talking about Mauricio Ruffy. I think it's Ruffy because he's Brazilian, and the potential matchup of Mauricio Ruffy versus Ilia Topuria. So, guys, before I dive into that matchup, I want to just say off the rip, I have a shit ton of respect for Mauricio Ruffy. And I also want to say that as a fellow Gemini, a brother in my Gemini astrology, Mauricio Ruffy, born June 17, 1996. I was born the same year, only 11 days before he was. So I want it to be clear. I actually am very supportive. I really enjoy Ruffy's style. I think that he's an amazing fighter. And I don't want it to come off as disrespectful when I say I feel like this matchup between Ruffy and Topuria is a banger matchup. But Ruffy's not ready yet. He's not ready for that yet, in my opinion. Now, that is based on, obviously, what we've seen so far in the UFC. I feel like when I look at the resume of Ruffy, I'm not like super impressed with all of the guys or the talent that he's fought. Not shitting on anybody. What I'm saying is, like, I don't think that if you look at his resume thus far, he hasn't gotten to that upper echelon of talent to where you could easily say, okay, like, you know, Ruffy beat this guy and this guy. That means he's ready for Topuria. I feel like he just hasn't had those wins yet. And I think that he's on his way to getting those wins. So we very well could see, you know, in the next 6 months to a year, should he be active and get these fights, I feel as though we could be seeing that matchup at some point in the future. But as it stands right now, I don't think Mauricio is ready for Topuria just yet. Now, that leads me into this video. What I'm going to be showing you guys in this video is the two matchups I think Ruffy needs to win. And then I would say, okay, all right, dude, you should go against Topuria. But I will say, even in these two matchups that I'm pulling together, these two matchups are based on a realistic scenario based on the current rankings for UFC in the lightweight division, that is. But that doesn't say that, okay, you beat these two guys, now that's a surefire bet that you're going to beat Topuria. Because I do feel like these two matchups you guys are about to see, they're not representative of a Topuria type style, but I feel they're great tests to say, okay, Ruffy, you've tested yourself against, a grappler type fighter or a grappler striker fighting style, and then a just straight kickboxing style. So with that, guys, I'm going to go ahead and show you on my next screen here what we're looking at for Mauricio Ruffy. If he can get past these two guys in convincing fashion, he is ready to go against Topuria. Now, I don't know how that fight goes. Currently, I feel like Ruffy gets knocked out just based on Topuria, his ability to land on the feet, his fucking next level power. But like I said at the beginning, I'm not hating on Ruffy whatsoever. I have so much respect for him. We are literally like 11 days apart birth-wise, so that we're connected in that regard as well. Anyways, before as I pull that up, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. Please give this video a like, and I would also love if you subscribe to Fight Feed if you aren't already, so you can stay on top of all the new MMA content I'll be posting, and so you can engage and we can have a consistent forum together talking about MMA. Now, I'll take us over to our next scene. We've got two black boxes here. The first fighter that I feel Ruffy should be tested against next is, drumroll, and sorry, I had to do the drum roll, so now we're running a little behind, and that fighter is Grant Dawson. Okay, now, you guys might be fucking shitting on this. You might be like, Grant Dawson, really, dude? Like, come on. Grant Dawson got KO'd by Bobby Green's jab. But that's a great way to go into this, guys, because the way the UFC has done matchmaking historically is when you have, now it's not necessarily always this way, but there's been a lot of matchmaking that's happened in the past where it's like, okay, you got John beat Mike, right? Now, these are just random names. John beat Mike, and then John fought Eric, but Eric beat John. Let's put Eric up against the other guy, right? And so I know that that's really hard to understand, but in this case, Grant Dawson gets KO'd by King Green, Bobby Green. King Green, I don't know why he changed his name to King Green. When you say King Green real fast, it sounds like gangrene. Anyways, Bobby Green knocks out Grant Dawson. Then Bobby Green gets knocked out by Ruffy. This is a great opportunity for the UFC to do what they've done in the past, where it's like, okay, like similar matchmaking, if you will. Let's now put Ruffy against Grant Dawson, okay? And the reason I think this is a great matchup is that Grant Dawson's the only young, up-and-coming grappler, like grapple-heavy style, very good scrambles, very good on the ground. We also saw him get a KO recently, or a finish. I think that Grant Dawson is a great test for Ruffy to test his ability on the ground. Can he stop a marauder when it comes to offensive wrestling? And a guy who really has like the gas tank to go for several rounds, just nonstop pressure with the grappling, nonstop takedowns, nonstop, like, going for positions on the ground. Does he have what it takes? And is his skill set high enough to negate that type of pressure? I feel like Ruffy did the greatest thing, guys, in his last win. He called out Beneil Dariush. I love that call out. And honestly, you could throw Beneil in this place, okay? The reason I'm against that at this point is Beneil's 36 years old, and he's only at this point at 36 in lightweight. Every single day, you're ticking down like ever so slightly in terms of his ability to continue being a fighter. I mean, he's at the tail end of his career. I want to see Ruffy go up against a younger guy who, if he goes out there and starches Grant Dawson and doesn't allow Grant Dawson's game to even become a factor, that to me answers all those questions of, can you handle this type of grappling? Because if you put him against a Beneil Dariush, I feel like there's a built-in hater, right? There's a built-in opportunity for someone who's not a Mauricio Ruffy fan or a Fighting Nerds fan that will say, oh, well, of course you knocked out Beneil. Like, he's 36 years old. In this case, although we could argue Grant Dawson got KO'd by the jab of Bobby Green, he has had a lot of success in the UFC, and he's had a lot of success after that loss. So I feel like this is the best matchup where we can truly test Ruffy's ability on the feet and his defensive wrestling and stopping takedowns, and, see if his striking actually can win in this striker versus grappler scenario, right? I think that's the best matchup. So that is what I'm positioning. And it's also a matchup where it gets Ruffy into the rankings of lightweight. And should that happen, and should he be successful with that, let's just say, let's have this fight happen. I don't know. Let's say it happens in September, or maybe, they're looking to go to Brazil in October. Let's say this is a fight that happens in Brazil, October 11th. I don't know what Grant Dawson's next fight is. So let's just say this happens in October. And let's say, Ruffy goes out there, he does his thing, he KOs Grant Dawson. The next matchup I think that happens for Ruffy is, and this is going to be a true test, because although this other fighter is kind of in that range of being a bit older for lightweight, I feel he is a crazy test for Ruffy to see if he has what it takes. And that fighter is Dan, the Australian Psycho Hooker. Now, this matchup is like, if you get past Grant Dawson, great. You showed us you can wrestle. You showed us you can stop wrestling. Now let's see how you handle a guy who's likely to not be sent to the canvas from your shots and will be in your face, wanting to hurt you for fun. Guys, Dan Hooker, I don't think, if you haven't watched UFC, Dan Hooker is like the worst fucking guy you would want in front of you, especially at lightweight. Because this man, if you don't knock him out, which I know he did get KO'd by Chandler, but dude, like, it was just like, I just feel like building up to that. I think he had already had that war with Dustin. if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like that didn't age well for him because I think he lost to Michael Chandler early 2021. He had an absolute bloodbath of a war with Dustin Poirier in July of 2020. So it's like, I don't know if he had enough time to recover. And it's like, there's extenuating circumstances there. Since then, Dan Hooker has been on a tear and he got himself into the top 6 of the rankings of lightweight. But Dan Hooker in his last fight, and I might even make a video on this someday because I fucking love it. It's awesome. Dan Hooker's on the stool in his last fight, blood on his fucking face, blood in his hair, and his coaches are like telling him to do shit. He's like thousand eye stare. Just like, I'm trying to look through my camera right now. That's like how he's looking. And he just starts maniacally laughing. And it's like, I fucking love this. Like, this is a dude where it's like, you go up against Dan Hooker and you beat him in convincing fashion. I'll sign my name. You take my money. You go on and you fight Ilia Topuria. If you get past the likes of the Australian psycho, not Australian, he's New Zealand. I'm sorry I said that, guys. He's a Kiwi. If you get past the New Zealand psycho, Australian just works better because it's like close to American. So just give me some credit, guys. I feel like that is such a test for Ruffy because it's like, not only is it a test on the feet, right? Because we've seen him go up against some strikers where it's like he goes up against Bobby Green. Bobby Green does have great boxing, but I think what you're going to see in a fight against Dan Hooker is not only is this a stand-up war, but he's also going up against a guy who's much bigger than him in height. Not much bigger. I think it's like a 2 or 3 inch advantage on the side of Hooker, but also a either negligible reach differential. I think their reaches are probably pretty close. Ruffy's got very long reach, guys. 75-inch reach for a lightweight, which is very, very long. Like that's 6'3". So, and he's only, I think, 5'11". So he's got some long fucking arms. Now, you beat Dan Hooker in convincing fashion. That to me, like, says you are ready for that next test, which would be Ilia Topuria. Now, like I said, guys, this is not a testament of like, I don't think Ruffy needs to go up against a Ilia Topuria lookalike and show he can beat that style. I don't think that's what needs to happen here. I just think he needs to show, like, I can beat high-level talent in this division, and I'm ready to take on the best of this division. And that is what I would like to see. I think these are two, winnable matchups for him and could be fireworks for him, right? Like, he could use Grant Dawson as a springboard, getting a nice, huge, another KO highlight reel, and then go down to Dan Hooker, have a fight of the fucking year potentially between these two, and prove himself to be ready for that next step. And I think if he could get these two fights, guys, he's absolutely ready to go up against Ilia Topuria. I wanted to make this video overall because I just feel like, although there's a lot of hype here, and rightfully so, the guy's got a fucking spinning wheel kick KO over. Is it a spinning wheel or heel kick? I don't know. He got a spinning... I'm just going to look at Tapology. It's fucking... Spinning heel kick KO over Bobby Green is nothing to snuff at whatsoever. I just think that's his only really good win, in my opinion. I mean, because when you look at his other wins, I mean, you've got Jamie Malarkey. Like, Jamie Malarkey's gotten pieced up by so many people at this point. I think he needs to go out there and get like a win or two, especially a win over a grappler, and then a win over a seasoned kickboxer that has a chin of granite and has a psycho meter that is like unmatched in this division. I would love to see these matchups, and just from the sale point of it, dude, Dan Hooker versus anyone is a banger matchup. Like, Dan Hooker never goes out there and has a boring fight. So I feel like this is the type of matchups that Ruffy needs. It not only tests his skills, but it's also, at this point, based on the skills we've seen from him, they are very winnable matchups. So I would love to hear from you guys. What do you think about these matchups for Ruffy? Do you feel like these would be the nice springboard to say, look, you are ready for Ilia Topuria? Do you feel like he doesn't need to prove these fights? I personally feel like he does, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Do you feel like he needs to prove himself before getting that type of matchup, especially since he's not even ranked yet in lightweight. Would love to hear from you guys. Make sure you comment below. Give this video a like if you enjoyed. And please, if you aren't already, subscribe to Fight Feed so you can stay on top of all the new and entertaining MMA content that I will be giving to you all. Thank you guys so much. Again, I truly appreciate you all for watching and engaging, and I will see you in the next video.